Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Tailless, the Christmas special finale two-parter,
Thing.
which is called The Miracle of Christmas Parts 1 and 2, which, yeah, is still kind of two episodes, even though,
Oh, there's a clear point where it's like, yep,
yeah,
that was the end of one
it was
episode.
still, I guess it's for the sake of, like, putting it on streaming services and stuff. They don't want to have it as one 2 hour episode or one, 80-something minute episode.
But here's the thing: when it goes onto streaming services, it's gonna be 180 minute episode. I think it will.
Well, okay, but why do this then? For repeats?
Yeah, probably.
Did they plan on repeating this much, given they cancelled it twice?
They need stuff to fill up that summer schedule.
Oh, it's weird. But yeah, so full spoilers for the episode, as always. And this is kind of a weird circumstance because the show was cancelled, but NBC gave them a two-part final pair of episodes so they could wrap up the story of the show. Because we did end in a cliffhanger in season 2,
Yeah.
where Mad Max, Lucy, and Wyatt came back through time and said, "You ready to save Rufus?"
Do you know what's funny? Is
Mhm.
obviously I remembered, that was the ending.
Mhm.
Until this started, I'd forgotten how Mad Max they were. I was like, oh shit, yeah, they were.
And if you're going to talk about disappointments, the fact that we never really see how they get to Mad Maxi, like sort of
Just the
style.
fact that they're gone within like 3 minutes and that's it is
Yeah,
pretty
that's it.
disappointing. There's clearly a lot of things in this where it's like, oh man, if we'd had the full season version of this,
Yeah, they'd have done more with it. They obviously had to cut it down so they could just do it in
which
2 episodes.
I will say is probably my one of my biggest things that I liked about this episode is no, this was an ending. This is closure.
Absolutely, yeah. No, this was a complete and total ending. To the point where I'm fairly certain that the final couple of scenes were always going to be the final couple of scenes of this show, no matter what. But
Yeah,
they condensed down everything else to make
yeah,
it fit
and
in 2 episodes.
it's a shame they had to do that.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but I appreciate at least they went, no, we're doing an ending. Unlike some other shows that have had chances to do endings and then didn't.
Do you know what this reminded me of in terms of feeling? It reminded me of season 2 of Dollhouse, where towards the end of the season they knew they weren't getting season 3 and they had to end their story. So it felt like they had to rush things. You could tell there was another like 3 seasons worth of plans that they condensed down into the last like 3 or 4 episodes, and it had this weird feeling of nothing. Like some things that should have been big deals felt weightless because they had to just kind of rush through them. And you don't really, you don't begrudge them for it because they
It's
just,
like you do what you had to do, right?
yeah, we're giving you a damn ending, and
It's
I like that show a lot ultimately. But
yeah, it kind of like I think I mean we're already on it, but Serenity is kind of the example that broke the mold almost of this potential. Like, okay, no, you got 2 hours, do your season,
yeah,
right?
yeah, Serenity's such a weird beast
That
because
it managed to just it cut out things. It didn't try and rush through all these things. It just went, no, here's the core elements,
I mean,
and
I
did that.
think the only failure of Serenity is that it's technically supposed to be a standalone movie, and I don't think it actually works as a standalone movie.
No, I
But
doesn't.
as a conclusion to the show, it hits out the goddamn park.
Absolutely, yeah,
It nails it. It does. Obviously, would I trade Serenity for like 4 more seasons of Firefly? Damn right I
in a
would.
heartbeat, yeah.
Yeah, but that theater experience of seeing Serenity was such a special experience for me.
Yeah, and this is very good, this episode. I really
Yeah,
enjoy what this is. It's not as good as Serenity
no,
in
it's not
terms of
Serenity.
okay, we've got 3 seasons, let's get it down into 2 hours. It's not that level of good.
Yeah, but to be fair, Tailless was never Firefly either.
It wasn't. No.
So uh, but yeah, so all this Firefly and Dollhouse talk has made me think of other shows.
This is why I was like, well, if you've already done Dollhouse, it's just it's too late now.
It's making me think of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, also by Joss Whedon. So yeah, so yeah, I think the first thing to say is that yeah, I mean it has that kind of feeling of rushing through kind of what it needs to do. Um, but I think one of the biggest problems with the rushing through, and I didn't really make start this in the negative side of things because there's a lot of things I like about these last 2 episodes that I think we're going to get into.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I think if I'm going to say about things that feel like were sacrificed by having to cut it down to this is that Rittenhouse themselves, which at the start of the show felt there was this big organization that was like larger than life, that how could we ever dream of beating these guys? In this final 2 episodes, they just kind of feel like, oh, it's just a room full of people. And it feels so small.
Yeah, it does. There's a few things like this. For me, the Lucy and Wyatt relationship, which has been bubbling for 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess it's now or never, right? And it's like, I don't blame them for doing it. That was clearly where it was always headed. We've always known this.
Yeah, but it was supposed to take like 2-3 more seasons to really get there.
Exactly. And so it's like, yeah, you've got to do it. I don't blame them. It's just it's not as good as it could have been. Is ultimately right. But I'm still glad it exists.
Well, to go back to, I don't want to keep creating Serenity, but there's a potential relationship in that show, right? That Whedon didn't do that in Serenity. He didn't just put them together because it was the last time, most likely. There's a hint that, hey, we're still on that path, right? Essentially what that movie does is that it just has them admit that they might have feelings for each other, and that's it. And it just that's
virtually drops what was in the show. Not like it's aware, it's still there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't follow up on it really in any meaningful way.
No, there's just a little hopeful thing towards the end that says, hey, they're kind of admitting this, that it's there to happen later, and it probably does if you in your head canon, this is where it goes later, and that's fine. Yeah. And by not forcing any more than they had time for, it doesn't feel like, oh, we just rush through it.
No, it's why that is the benchmark for this sort of situation, is because it knew exactly, okay, we can't fit this in, let's just not do it.
Yeah, and there were sacrifices. It sacrificed stuff like that where it didn't do it. It sacrificed things from the show where, 2x2 hands of blue, we don't know how that ended. I mean, it's in a comic book now, but it's not in the movie.
There's entire character arcs that were being set up in the season that they went, do you know what? We ain't got time for that in the movie. Just leave it.
It's such an insanely good example of prioritizing and making it work. Where it hit the things it needed to hit, and I get, like, we wanted the coda at the end where we see Lucy and Wyatt are together and they have kids and they've named their kids Amy and Flynn. That was very Harry Potter and Star Wars to me. It made me think of both of those things simultaneously.
I get it.
I was hearing Ben. I was hearing Severus.
Yeah.
and
Albus.
And Albus, yes, from Harry Potter. So it was that stuff's kind of fine. I do like Flynn's ending. I think, again, it's this thing where it had the more time to really build up to the fact that he's actually a hero and he's not this guy.
Yeah, I think it worked enough because season 2 did a good job.
Yeah, it's that thing where I would have liked years of him becoming more of a great guy, but I still think it works where he makes the choice where ultimately, because what I like about it is I think because Wyatt thinks of it first, where he's like, no, this all happened because of Jessica. It all happens because she didn't die. And maybe that's the point. Because obviously we've been saying since the start of the show that whoever killed Jessica, that's going to be a big deal, right? Like, why was she killed? And I was like, oh, is Wyatt going to have to go back and kill her himself? Is that going to be like the twist the whole time? And I like that Flynn basically makes the choice to himself. He sneaks off and does it himself because we set up that
it's almost they all know it has to be done, and he does it so that Wyatt doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, because he's already crossed the line before, so he's like, I'm already a villain. I'll do it. You maintain your heroic sensibilities. Don't sell your soul. And it feels like a sacrifice. It feels like this because he also dies while doing it, obviously, because he stays there. And he goes and watches his family one last time before his body just gives in, because they didn't forget that they can't be in the same timeline as previous versions of themselves.
Yeah, obviously it was a big question at the end of last season. It's like, hang on, how's this happening?
And the truth is that it can't really. They can survive for a few minutes, maybe 20.
Yeah, but really not enough to do anything meaningful.
And we find out that they found his body in the water, later that year or whatever, and. It played nice because it felt like a sacrifice. It felt like he was going out kind of a hero, and having Wyatt kind of admit that afterwards and admit that he did the right thing, and even agreeing later to name his
because
kid
they
after
were
him.
so bitter towards each other.
Yeah. Because even something that Wyatt doesn't know. I mean, maybe it gets told later, but like Flynn basically says to listen, nah, things don't work out with us. You were always meant for him. Like, don't,
Yeah.
don't do this. Like, and like, I think all that stuff worked really well. It's kind of that weird thing where conceptually this stuff's all great. It'd have been nice if it had more time to play out, but
The execution is as good as I could have hoped for, if that's what they're doing.
yeah. And that's just kind of it. And I think the moment where Rufus comes back, where he just walks through the door as if he was always on the mission, never knowing that he died.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Actually, I liked it for him. It's not that he died and came back. For him, it's like, no, I was just always here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and then reconciling these two timelines. It's like, hang on, you've been gone for 3 years. What's going on?
Yeah, it does get a bit weird with some of its rules where things happen, like things change because people never went back and did things right, but they still have the fancier DeLorean version of the time machine from the future, even though now GL will never have a reason to build it, kind of thing.
Yeah. This show's always been like that. If they affect it and they do it,
Yeah.
it kind of just sticks, right?
Yeah,
To
it's
them,
just
so
it's just a little bit. It's hard to sort of wrap your head around what the rules are there a little bit, but
yeah, don't think about it too hard.
yeah. So yeah, that moment was great, and they realized that Flynn did this, and then they realized that he died. Because I was actually asking, like, I guess the time ship's just there because things have changed, but then you see a scene where he actually sends it back to the time period they're in and jumps out at the last second. He doesn't go back. He
Hey,
makes the
thank
choice to
God
stay
for
and die.
autopilot, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. They set up that now it can be done really easily. And I'm like, okay, that's someone who wouldn't typically be able to use this is going to use that later because now it's easy. I did like the joke that you built a DeLorean out of the time machine because the line in Back to the Future is you built a time machine out of the DeLorean.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
It was. Do you know what cracked me up?
Yeah.
Is like something that for the last 3 or 4 episodes of the show, we were discussing the situation with the pregnancy, and immediately it's just like, we don't have time to deal with this. She was lying. Get over it.
I think we theorized she was lying.
No,
but
it was definitely something we discussed, and I think it was probably what we were leaning towards. Although there was a possibility that it wasn't that. But that's something that, had this been a season, would have been another few episodes
honestly,
of that.
Again, going back to things that were sacrificed because we had to squeeze it into 2 hours, I think one of the things that we'd have done had we had like more seasons of the show, even just one full season, would be setting up that Jessica is this horrible and she deserves to be killed. Like, because for our part, we had obviously the heel turn at the end of the season, and we had her here like going to collect that gold, and she's kind of a dick to the guy, but it'd have been nice if we'd really seen how monstrous she was. Like, no, this was a good thing she was killed. Like, she should have died the whole time because she is awful and she is going to cause so much problems, so much trouble. How do you feel about Lucy making the choice not to go back and save her sister when she's presented with the possibility?
I actually think it's one of the most interesting choices in this episode, because on one hand, she should want to go back because that's the original timeline as far as she's concerned, right? Maybe maybe it's actually not, because who knows what someone else could have done, but to her that was the original timeline. And it's kind of a dark moment to be like, do you know what? What am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really like the acceptance of, this is life now. If I change that, all of this is going to be changed. And she'd rather just, right, no, this is as good as life is going to get. Let's kind of just keep it as it is.
Yeah, we have to stop messing with the timeline. We have to make a stance because then we'll stop Rittenhouse. Because that's the thing. The way Emma's taken down is really kind of lackluster. I mean, it's nice to see the original Rittenhouse dude, right? Lucy's dad, but like, it's kind of like a really quick scene in an office. It's like I kind of wanted more. I mean, obviously she gets shot in North Korea, but like the actual takedown where she realizes she's been beat is very lackluster. The best part of the episodes, for the most part, as per usual with Tailless, is just our main group. And when I say main group, I'm including Flynn, I'm including Gia in this, when they're going around together and dealing with the past. And I get that they wanted to have kind of a traditional Tailless adventure to a point with the Zorro stuff in the first half.
Yeah, I don't begrudge them that. I feel like it doesn't. It feels like not betraying what the show is. It's like, no, we're still that show.
Yeah, Yeah, I think there's a temptation though, because you're only getting these last two episodes, just to not do the typical thing and just focus on the plot.
There is, yeah.
And then obviously the second one, to go in North Korea, and it's the humanity of it, where Lucy, and I think this is another thing that this would have probably been a big deal in the middle of like the next season, had like where Lucy says, no, we're going to stop and save this person, because what's the point of saving history if we don't save the people in it? Like, I think that would have been a big dramatic point, like that would have maybe played out over.
I think it's really nice and poignant to have that in the final episode.
Yeah, no.
But I do also agree that no, that just in the middle of the season being like, no, we're shifting the rules a little bit, just because we were kind of doing that a little bit last season, where they were like just nudging things a touch, like with Hedy Lamarr, right?
Because it's sort of thing where I feel like, had we more time, like Lucy would make this choice, would fight for it, maybe even get like refused by the rest of the team. But then by the end of the season, the whole team comes on board. No, we're going to start saving people, because this is, like
we'll damn the consequences. We'll risk it because they're still people.
Yeah, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah,
and that's the, that's the thing. So I appreciate that. What did you think of the fact that they made a point of setting this at Christmas, as if this was Christmas Eve all along?
I hate, because no, I distinctly remember this problem in season 2, where we were like, but hang on, why are they treating it like such a big time? Because it was like present day as to when it was airing.
Yeah, and that's something else I was going to bring up, is that they keep saying it's 2018 and then it's 2019. So then I'm like, where did all this time go?
Yeah, like we at the start of the last season, we were going, I guess it's 2018 now.
Yeah,
like, it was like 6 weeks later, and we were in like 2016 before.
Yeah, they have played fast and loose with what the present day time is on this show.
They really have. It's honestly might be the most egregious use of their time travel rules.
And I don't know why. Like, why not just have it all be set in 2016 in the present day stuff? Who cares? It's fine.
I don't understand. I really don't understand why it would have been a problem. But yeah,
it's really not a big deal,
It's all the thing is as well. They were like, "This is airing at Christmas. Screw it. It's Christmas now."
Yeah, it felt really weird that they turned their finale into a Christmas episode.
There's nothing in the plot that needs it. There's like 3 or 4 mentions that, hey,
yeah, spirit of Christmas. It's really just so that scene at the end when everything's like solved and they're sitting down and having drinks, that there's a Christmas tree and there's some Christmas lights, and Christopher's wearing this ridiculous, jumper, sweater.
Yeah. Rufus says something Christmassy when he comes in and saves them, right?
Oh yeah, it says "Merry Christmas, you filthy animals."
Oh, is it?
Does the Home Alone? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's just little things like that. They went, this is airing at Christmas. Let's add a few things in.
Yeah, but make it Christmas 2016.
Yeah, I don't know why that would have been a big deal.
It's so weird, but whatever. They did it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's done now. I'm over it.
So yeah, we get this coda where everyone, because the whole final thing in Korea was basically just a trap by Emma to try and kill everyone, and then so when they get out of that, everything's fixed. They've stopped Rittenhouse. And we get the codas where Gia and Rufus have set up a company. They're basically like, Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic. And they've set up their own company.
I'll tell you, I could have done without the montage through every episode.
Sure, when the music started playing.
Yeah, like the actual coda stuff, fine.
Yeah, because that was after we even get them going back in 2023 back to the Flynn, so that Lucy could give them the diary.
Yeah. It was just weird to have like that. I just felt like, oh, hey, look at all these good times we had.
The weird cover of Time After Time playing, is it?
Do you know what is really... Because if I remember rightly...
This launched the same time as a show called Time After Time, which got cancelled in the middle of its season.
Yeah, that was really bad.
That was terrible, that show.
Go back and watch that review if you really want. But I thought it was weird that, hey, that was like the same month, give or take.
It wasn't the same month, because this show started.
Or was this mid-season?
No. Time After Time was mid-season.
Was that mid-season?
That started like January, so it was Tailless had already had most of its season, I think, by that point.
That was a couple of months later, but it was the same TV season.
Yeah, it was the same season. So, I mean, the kind of stuff like, and it sort of hints that this kid who is the next science genius is going to, invent a time machine herself. That's the final shot. After we get them coming back, and we get the three original travelers like sitting in the time ship, kind of thing. We also get the fact that this kid's going to invent a time machine herself.
These things, they're just like, hey, if we ever get a chance to come back in the future, We got stuff in place. We got ideas.
Yeah, I kind of took it more of as just, this is going to go on. Like, there'll always be more. It's kind of the point Mason, because Mason has kind of one character beat this entire finale, and then it's that he's talking to Christopher, and she's like, "Oh, we should destroy it." And he's like, "No, no, no." You know, like after the nuke, it was like, "Yeah, this should never have happened." But 6 months later, the other side had them, so we have to have them for retaliation.
Yeah. It's the idea that no, it exists now. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
Um,
Obviously, with nukes, it was mutually assured destruction was the phrase, but with time travel, we need to combat it. We have to have a way of fighting back. Should someone else have it?
Yeah, and that's a fine idea. And but what I mean is it's obviously it plays as the beat for his arc, and the idea that it always goes on. But I think leaving it as the very final moment to me says, hey, if we ever come back, this isn't over.
Sure. I feel like if it ever did come back, though, it'd be a complete reboot, and it would be set in the continuity in the sense that, okay, it'd be in the future with these new time machines and whatever, but it'd be like, we'd probably not bring back a lot. Like, it'd be new. I mean, these characters might cameo, they might set things up, but it'd be a new main cast.
Oh, that's what I expect.
Yeah.
I mean, just do it in 20 years, and you got that. It's like, oh, hey, that kid. It's the lead character.
Yeah, exactly. You can cast a 30-year-old in 20 years who this kid is, yeah. And we'll be ancient, but
yeah.
Oh dear. So no, I enjoyed, it was nice to see the show again. It was nice to see the characters. It was nice to save Rufus. Sweet moments between them. Gia and Rufus have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, it was just nice to say goodbye and have them finish the story off.
It was nice to have the closure.
Yeah, but obviously it's not the best version of this story we could have had, and it's a little bittersweet because of that. But you're glad that you got it.
It's one of those where versus the alternative, which realistically was nothing.
Yes.
I will take this every time.
Yes.
Flaws and all. Yes, give me this. I will happily rewatch this show knowing this is the ending.
Yeah. It's a fine ending. So, it was nice for them to get this chance. It was nice for them to say goodbye. It is one of those things as well. It's doing that montage at the end. I think that montage would have worked if it had been the end of season 5, and it'd been 5 years of watching the show and seeing these early clips again. It'd have meant more. But because it was only like just over 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 25 episodes.
Season 1 was like 16, then because everywhere seems to be counting this as 11 and 12 for season 2, just because convenience sake.
All right, maybe closer to 30 in total.
So 28, 30 episodes, so... But hey, Tailless was a fun show. It's a shame that it didn't get to last longer, so it could have fulfilled more potential. But...
Brimming with ideas, I'd say ultimately its downfall was staying too formulaic in season 2. It didn't break the mold enough when it could have gone further. I think that's probably what led to it not coming back, and it didn't take those risks.
I don't think anything would have helped it. I think the first cancellation was basically the writing on the wall that it was doomed at the end of season 2 no matter what. I think the formula, I wish they'd broken away from it a little bit in season 2, even though they did start doing other things with it. Like, because we talked about the Kennedy episode where he came to the future.
Yeah, no, they did. Don't get me wrong, but it was just potential for more that we could see. And it's like, no, do other things. That we wanted more out of them because you wanted to push it to be better, even though what we got was still enjoyable every episode.
Yeah, so that's Tailless. At least for now. Because if nothing else is for sure, is that TV properties will reboot time after time.
Yes, they will.
So thank you very much. You can let us know what you thought of the finale in the comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?